All right, we're going to have a little family
Family
meeting
conversation.
on film. Uh, just to give you our perspective, we've been talking to all kinds of people about their walk of life and their boat. Uh, so, a little insight into how it feels here in Arizona.
So, what has it been like to go from 100 to 0 in terms of work?
Yes, no, I knew what you meant. Not 100 yet, a little shy of 100. It, interesting. We are lucky to be in a warm climate. We can walk the dog, we can hike the hills and uh, look out at a mountain view. So there's a bit of isolation and surreal feeling to being quarantined and what's happening east of those mountains because it's so peaceful here. But the one thing physically that I knew that I had to do was sing. When we're on a 2 and 3 show per weekend schedule, you stay in shape, your voice stays active, and so on. It became very apparent after about 2 or 3 weeks that I was going to need to exercise the voice. Yeah. So there's the stage right there. That's the arena. We just got done with doing the timing was good. We just got done with the live orchestral CD. So I asked Rich to make me what's called a TV mix. You remove the lead vocal, and I have those tracks here. So it's just like putting the headphones in, the earpieces in for a show. Musically, it's the same. You just close your eyes and sing, but you're doing it as it's not a practice. It's a workout.
It's more of an exercise.
It's an exercise. And the funny thing, of course, is when that happens, you look at me and say, "Have a nice show, hon." At 9 o'clock at night.
Have a good show, hon. See you when you're done.
Yeah, so go in the closet.
But it has also allowed you, I guess it's been a blessing in some ways because it's allowed you time to work on projects that you've wanted to do for a very long time, but there never seems to be enough time.
No, and I'm not. There's never enough time. The specific project right now happens to be a solo CD. We spend our time making sure the show's right, making sure there's new songs, new product for the band, and the solo CD keeps getting kicked down the road. This became the right opportunity to start working on that. I'm not a prolific writer, as you know, and it takes me assembling bits and pieces and thinking them through to get to a point where Nashville writers walk in and clock in and do a 10 to 1, have lunch, do a 2 to 5, and come out with
2 hit songs,
2 or 3 songs at the very least, some great solid ideas for demos and whatever. I'm not in that league at all, but I do have a pile of notes, and so I've started to do that, which is very gratifying to sing the set, keep your voice in shape, and then go work on new stuff is a good thing at my tender age.
A lot of people have asked about this. I've thought about this. This is 2020 is a big year for you. It's 40 years with LRB. It's your 70th. It was a big year, is a big year. Some celebrations planned, but a huge milestone. At this point, is it a little disappointing that you're not out there right now. And honestly, we don't really know when you'll go back out. It's a day-to-day thing.
Because we're doing this, because there are other distractions, and because this is such a great place to be, it's hard to say disappointing that to not be quote unquote out there. It is disappointing to not be able to do what we do as a touring group, crew and band. But it's also disappointing that this is a time when people need music. They need live, a concert experience that they can go to and close off what's happening outside the building or outside the show. It's always been that vehicle. Now it's even more so for people.
Right.
And we've been doing it for so long. It's there. The disappointment is in not being able to get there for the people that need the live musical experience. It's what we're supposed to be doing. But I'm happy to have time to work on something else too. Lots of people don't do what we do, bands. Lots of bands travel for 2 or 3 months, then they take the rest of the year off. Large acts that earn a lot of money and can afford to do that. Our thing is rare in that we work.
Well, especially for a band of the era of Little River Band.
Yeah, a vintage band,
Yeah.
to go out almost every weekend, 40 plus weekends a year, and do 80 to 90 shows. That's a rare thing. So we've been blessed to have that. It's interesting to be down on the fact that right now we have some time off. That's from our perspective.
Right.
But the perspective of,
And when you say our, you mean our and your. We're not in any way talking about the band specifically in their each individual's perspective. I do want to make that clear.
and
This is just what we're talking about is from our perspective right now.
Right. We've been married 20 years. We haven't spent this much time together ever.
No.
That's a
fact.
And it's a bonus. It's
yeah.
that's a silver lining to this issue. I think for lots of families, being quarantined, if you will, or being home more is a good thing.
Well, it's definitely bringing back family life.
Yes.
Family time, family life. It's putting an emphasis on times that you had when you were younger with your family, just because of the nature of the era, times that I had with my family, that families with young kids today don't necessarily place a high respect on time together. And this has forced people to have time together.
Mm-hmm.
And in many, many ways, I think it's probably been a positive. But because of my work with CASA, I know also it's been a real negative for some situations.
For dangerous homes, yeah. Kids in
yeah.
high risk areas. So I'll put that same question back to you. The joy of fans and shows.
Mm-hmm.
Does it disappoint you that
you're not out there?
That we're not able to do that? I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, and I think really for the same reason. And I for us, it's always been a connection with the fans, not just as a fan buying a concert ticket or buying merchandise. There's many people that we've met on the road that we've become good friends with.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a connection there that we're missing out on. I come out on the road, I pick and choose. We joke about it, but I pick and choose where to go. A lot of times based on
based on who might be there.
who is going to be at the shows and who we know in those towns.
Right.
So yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing that you can't give the people the music that they want to hear in a live situation. I see it from a different perspective, probably. When I stand on stage, or not on stage, but side stage during a show, and I look out there, what I see is people going back to different places in their mind from different eras, what those songs mean to them and the memories they have attached.
Mm-hmm.
So you see this wave of emotion, so to speak. Maybe not the greatest way to explain it.
No, I get it.
But so yeah, that's kind of a sad thing that can't happen right now.
That's the real disappointment. We will get back to work. We have lots of things we have lots of other things that we do. We're doing this together. We cook together. We have a life. And Chris and Stephanie were talking about, they see people, couples that, they love each other, but do they like being with each other, whatever. I can't call this a disappointment in being able to be here.
Right.
That's really it. But there is definitely a disappointment that the energy and the connection for people who need this to happen at this most crucial time.
Although
we can't do it.
There is an element of disappointment or like, crap, because you are home. That's awesome. And we get to do a lot of things here at the house together, and we're cooking together, and we're having time to talk, and instead of just being on a phone and not seeing the person's reaction and whatever. But there is a small disappointment in the fact that you are home and we don't get to share time with our friends either.
Right. Yeah, we're
so that's kind of a sucky thing, Here we are home, and he's home all these Friday nights and Saturday nights, and yet we don't get to have the cookouts and the people over and the things like that he's always missing. So
interesting perspective. Yeah, we're stuck here. We have to break the rules in order to get together with friends, or at least adhere to the rules and keep our distance if we do gather in 4s and 6s and whatever. On a personal level,
the dog is getting really bored with this.
The dog is bored with this,
like,
and the fly is
seriously. Can you two just go away and give me some private time?
But seriously, I'm a little late to the party with FaceTiming and Zooming and so on and so forth. But just last weekend, I did that with my son and his sons and his wife. Saw their house renovation and connected family-wise through the computer. And I will say that this has been a catalyst for something a milestone in our relationship with your mother, because she is from a different time. She doesn't want a smartphone. She doesn't want to deal with a computer in her hand, et cetera, et cetera. And we finally found a way to easily say, you go to Facebook, you hit this button, and we're talking to her now. Whereas instead of seeing her once a month or once every 6 weeks, we're now seeing that. That is a personal, that's a win.
Well, and she's actually asking, it wasn't so complicated for her that she's saying, when can we do it again?
When can we do it again? Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I think too, going back to the whole disappointment and work thing, I mean, you're going to be 70. It's the band's 45th year.
Yep.
I don't know. No one really knows how long people are going to want to continue to see LRB, and that's dictated by public demand basically. But at a certain point you will decide that less and less shows are probably what you should do. I don't That's not going to be anytime soon, so don't anyone get all freaked out about that. But knowing that 70, and then by the time the 50th anniversary is here, you'll be 75. Who knows what that brings, but so it's almost like you want to soak it up. Like, I want you to be able to soak as much more of it up as you possibly can.
It is an interesting thought that it won't be long before we'll see this as lost time.
Right.
Whereas right now we're surviving it, and there's nothing we can do. So to be down about it is
it's useless.
It's useless, and
It's
we have to fight against that. And knowing that shows haven't been canceled, they've just been moved. They've been moved back. They might get moved back again, but the lid will come off this sooner or later. But you're right. This might seem like lost time
later.
The day I
that the lights
hang it up.
Yeah. Well, and gosh,
I guess there's not a might about it. It will.
Well, it will.
No matter what you
happen.
do, we've lost 3 months. Right.
And I think, I remember when that first phone call on a Wednesday, is the show going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Do I get on a plane? Do I not get on a plane? And literally almost within hours, it was, don't go to the airport. The show's not happening.
Yeah.
And I think at first I kind of thought, okay, this is going to go on for a couple of weeks. But May, because in the middle of March 5th, May seemed like a long time away, right? So I thought, okay, March, April, but by May, coasting down the road. And gosh, here in Arizona, our stay at home has not even lifted. It doesn't lift until the 15th of May. So, now here we are, where we've walked through the door of May and we're hanging out, and it literally is a day by day, week by week, wait and see.
Yeah.
So now it does feel more like time lost instead of pause.
A pause, right? I was while you were saying that, it takes me back to the heart of Same Storm, Different Boat. The idea was hers out of frustration. One day she said, "We're not in the same boats. No, we're definitely not in the same boats." And of course, I went to lyrics and whatever. Some people got yachts and some people got rowboats with holes in the bottom. And as we've talked to people, we've learned, as well as putting this out there in a series, we've learned so much about the scope. For instance, our friends Al and Pam are in education. We had an incredible talk with them about the impact on children and distance learning, as Al called it, teleschooling, et cetera, all these little catchphrases. The essence is kids are learning online. They're going to school online, looking at a computer screen. The very next day, someone said, it's about time we start letting kids go back to school. And all of the talk shows, all of the pundits, we're talking about the exact same things that we had learned the day before from Al and Pam. We've been talking to people in the trucking industry. The scope of this is so much bigger than all of the little narrow opinions and perspectives people have. It is worldwide. It is massive, and it's definitely real. When you put all that together, the disappointments that are circling around all of us are just waiting to land.
We can only surmise what it's like. We don't have a teenager in the house, a teenager that's a senior that's missed out on prom and homecoming, and well, probably not homecoming because that would have happened already, but definitely prom and senior skip day, and prep for graduation,
and they don't get to walk.
they don't get to walk. So initially I thought, you know what, those are just insignificant little things that down the road they'll realize that the lessons that they walk away from this will be much deeper and bigger than a prom or a senior skip day or whatever. No, I have to eat a little crow on that, because I feel like for them, those are huge things that we can't possibly understand because we aren't one, or we don't have a senior in the home. So that's kind of where my thoughts started to turn about, yeah, we're all in the same storm, but we're not in the same boat.
Well,
it's
and
a completely different situation.
The other thing too about those events that you're describing,
they can't be recreated.
They can't be redone, and they're once in a lifetime things. That's part of the perspective. Having done shows for 40 plus years, you can kind of take a breath and go, this will come back.
Right.
A senior in high school won't get their graduation back.
Right. But and that's just one example. We have no idea what it's like to go to a hospital and put on scrubs and put on a mask and put on personal protection equipment every single day and see people dying. We don't know what that's like, because we don't do that. That's not, but that is somebody else's reality. And so that reality for them, even though there's this bug that's taken over our life, that reality is very different from our reality.
Mm-hmm.
We've not had anyone in our family that's been affected. And dare I say, even let's go back to the medical professionals, those that work in New York or California, some of the hot spots, is different. Their situation is different than, let's just take even here, because our numbers are so different. Those are completely different situations. So
it's very, very apparent that we are all struggling and suffering through this at different levels, in different ways. And it is literally dismissive to say, well, we're all in the same boat.
It is.
It's just wrong.
Because I feel like, while, okay, let's just use the frontline medical professionals. Yes, they're working. Yes, they still have a paycheck coming in. But the difference is they're risking their life every single day, and the life of their families if they don't isolate themselves when they come home.
Right. They're working, but they're working in fear of passing on.
And so, I don't know. It really teed me off to hear, oh, we're all in the same boat. Yeah, me. Okay. No, we're not. No, we're not.
I guess the way to cap this off, those boats are all different distances from the shore. They're going to come in. This isn't going to be over. This is going to keep changing and keep morphing until we reach a point of safety with medicine or vaccine or whatever it is, or enough social distancing that we've stopped the spread. But it's certainly not going to happen overnight.
It's not going to happen overnight.
And it's going to happen in different ways.
I want to point out one other thing too that caused me to go down this path that is super disturbing. You see different events that artists and actors and actresses have done virtually online, and you see all these things, and you think about all these different people, and And then they do these things, and here they are in the backyard of their multi-million-dollar homes, all dressed to the nines, doing these, benefit virtual shows. And, or you see where a power couple, uh, has a whole gym to themselves because the gym was closed down and they could afford to tell the owner, I'll pay you XYZ to open up the gym. Like, that is what really sent me over the edge, because there are people that don't know where their next meal is coming from, and don't know how they're going to feed their kids right now. Like, so that was really, that kind of set me off too. I was like, that's when it really became apparent. No, we aren't all in the same boat. We've got one common denominator, and it's that this virus has basically ripped everyone's lives and put a halt to everything that we know as normal. But no, we're not, it's not all the same.
No.
So.
Not even close.
Not even close. All right. I won't rant anymore.
We'll keep getting different perspectives.
Yes.
Because that's what this exercise is about, is presenting those. And we have yet to speak to a healthcare professional.
It's on the list.
I know.
We have a lot on the list. Thank you all for listening. Please, we would love if you would share this with your friends and your family. And we welcome comments back and conversation back and forth. So there you go.
Communication is also a great silver lining to this thing. So let us know what you think, and let the people know that you see what tell us what you think, your reactions. It's all good. We'll see you at the next episode. Take care.
Same storm, different boat. Thanks, everybody. See ya.